I haven't mentioned that today, but often I talk about the movies in your mind, because anything that's not happening right here, right now, in other words, immediately in my life, they're movies. They're things that I'm bringing up in my own mind or that are coming up in my mind. I don't have to bring them up, but they're showing up. So they're neurochemical impulses in my brain, and I refer to those as movies. One of the ways that we can deal with those movies is to kind of reinterpret them. So one of the ways we can reinterpret things like emotional pain is to really learn that it's supposed to hurt. A lot of people are like, I shouldn't hurt like this. I shouldn't. You're actually designed to hurt when it comes to emotional pain because you're designed to connect. You're literally wired to need to connect to other human beings. You can't help it and you can't stop it. You need to connect. And if you're not connecting, your insula is going to light up. Just like when my insula lit up when I broke my ankle, your insula will light up if you're not connecting with others. It's supposed to be that way. So a major task, though, is to help our brain recognize the difference between something that's emotionally dangerous or emotionally painful and something that is physically hurtful or immediately physically dangerous. So we need to do that right here. We need to make sure that the right part of our brain is taking care of emotional pain. So the emotional pain is supposed to be there. It's lighting up, but it's telling you to do something. If your security guard gets hold of it, it's going to try and punch somebody in the face or run away from them or freeze up. That's not what the pain is there for. The pain is lighting up because you're not connecting. Something's wrong in a relationship that you have. That pain is trying to tell you, your conscious self, that you need to mend your relationship with this healthy person, or you need to amend your relationship, or you need to end the relationship. Right? One of these, mend or amend or end the relationship. All of this requires really healthy frontal lobe activity because relationships are complex. So what I mean by mend is we're assuming you're dealing with a healthy person, and all healthy people inadvertently harm each other. Healthy people try and make it right when they've hurt each other. And so you're healthy and they're healthy when you inadvertently hurt each other. You come back and you have a great way of apologizing. You try and fix that to mend it. That's a healthy person. Please don't get rid of people in your life because they hurt you. What you're looking for, healthy people, if they hurt you, they feel bad for it and they want to make it right. That's a healthy person. Keep them in your life. Right? Sometimes people who may have been healthy once for us might not be healthy at the moment for various reasons. These are relationships we might want to amend. So rather than keeping them really close to us, maybe there's somebody who we need to get a little bit of distance from. Maybe we need to learn to not rely on this person quite so much because they're not in a position to meet our needs. So we want to amend that and make sure that I'm not trying to get a friend to take care of me in the way that maybe a spouse or a family member could. So I need to amend that relationship, make sure that my boundaries are clear. Sometimes, if we're with a person who's not just a little prickly, but even toxic for us, and maybe because of their own issues, we don't have to judge them. What we can do is say, my interaction with them only ends up in toxic pain for everybody. Then we start looking at ways that we might end that relationship, at least for that stage of life and maybe forever, because it's just too toxic to be around them and not healthy. But again, all this requires really good frontal lobe functioning and conscious functioning. So you're supposed to be hurting if your relationships aren't working. You're designed that way to hurt. And it's telling you to mend or amend or end a relationship. And one way to think about this is to think about this dog. So, not everybody likes dogs or little dogs, I get that. But for those of you who love dogs, when you look at the image of this dog, you are likely feeling some emotional response. Right? If you're a person who loves dogs, you're likely having drawn from you to try and help out this little dog. It's very likely that you want to in some way hold it or or pet it to calm it down, because it pretty much looks like it's ready to run away or maybe bite you if you get too close. And so you're being drawn to try and comfort it. You'll likely want to give it treats. You're very likely going to talk to it in a very nice, soothing tone, right? All of these things. This dog is supposed to be displaying all of this for us so that it will draw things out from us. This is something that some of us, particularly white Caucasian males, get a really wrong message in our culture. They get told that you're not allowed to show your emotions, right? And they get this told to them repeatedly throughout their life, that it's not acceptable, it's a sign of weakness if you show your softer emotions. You're only allowed to show happiness and anger, but none of those softer, more complex emotions, like sadness or fear or hurt, right? But actually we need to, right? Just like we see the fear and the scare in this dog and we want to do something for it, we actually all need this. We all need people to respond to us if we're in pain. Some people literally need to learn how to show that they're scared or they're lonely. And it's fine, I get it, on the battlefield or maybe on a sports court or something, it's just fine to only show like anger and intensity and never show fear. That's fine. But what I'm talking about is relationships, and all of us are designed to connect. If we're not connecting, we will be in pain. So take a lesson from this little dog. Like, emotional pain is supposed to show up, right? It's supposed to change our posture a little bit so that we kind of look down and allowing that to happen. I get it. Some people maybe show too much emotion. For a lot of people, they're not showing near enough. And again, particularly Caucasian white men, they're actually, of those who complete suicide in the US, they make up 70% of them. Right? Caucasian men in general don't know how to show emotion. That leads to incredible bouts of loneliness and pain, and they find a permanent solution to emotional pain. So here's a lesson from this dog, in that emotional pain is supposed to hurt. When your insula lights up with emotional pain, instead of trying to get rid of it, look to your relationships. And here's the simple thing. You might think you're so complex and your needs are complicated, and they're not. Here's what you can do. Teach people to treat you like a dog they love, right? That will help you feel so much better. If people will give you treats, talk to you in a nice voice, touch you in kind ways, those are all things. Get on your level, right? The words are not very important as much as the actions and that kind of physical show of, hey, you matter to me and I want to hear your pain. That's very powerful. So teach people in your life. First, learn how to show that you're hurting, and then let them treat you like a dog they love. Right? All of those things. And by the way, if you want to really grow your relationships with somebody, treat other people like a dog you love. Treat them. It's not complicated. People think, oh, people are so complex. They're not. If you start treating people like you would a dog, they'll love you back, and it will take care of all the little bobbles and that. Treat people like dogs you love, and things will go much better for you. So one of the ways, if you, again, this is a strategy. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you do, turn it into a statement where, if I'm in emotional pain, then I will remind myself to either mend or amend or end the relationship that's causing the pain. I don't need to fight somebody. I don't need to run away from them. I don't need to freeze. That pain is supposed to be there. And if I'll remind myself of this each morning, a couple times, okay, if I'm in emotional pain, then I will attend to my relationships. If I'll repeat this a couple of times each morning, I'll be far more likely, when pain shows up, and it will. If you're in relationships with human beings, emotional pain is going to show up. It's supposed to, when there's misses. It is telling us to fix those relationships.